What has that ever gotten me? Your love, JR. Yes, I have a beautiful son who I adore, who we adore, and love more than life itself. But what else? We have great sex, yeah, we have that. But do we have respect? Nah. Do we have trust? No, I don't think we do. To you, I will always be the girl who grew up in the trailer park and fell for the boy who lived in a mansion on the clouds. But I am not that girl anymore, JR. And you are too damn old to be that boy. So when you truly, finally grow up, you give me a call.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Palace Chat. I am your host, Gina Parker. I am here with Ashley Jones.
Heyo.
Ashley, what have you been into?
Oh, I got caught up on Emily in Paris. It
Hmm.
was a very good season. I quite liked it.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah. It was like Emily in Paris, then Emily in Rome, then Emily in Venice, then Emily back to Paris. I'm also staying caught up on Will Trent and High Potential.
Nice. Well, High
Oh, and I,
Potential's done.
yeah, yeah. I had one more of Will Trent. And then I took your advice on Black Monday as well. I have to be careful where I watch that. It's
Yeah.
very,
Uh-huh.
very profane.
Oh, yeah.
What about you?
I'm watching Rooster, which is made by the same people who make Scrubs,
Hmm.
but it's a very different vibe. But it's Steve Carell is a dad who agrees to work at a university to keep his daughter, who's going through a divorce, from being fired from the university, and they were spending time together all of a sudden, type thing.
Hmm.
All right. So this week on Pals Chat Podcast, on this episode, we have an interview with Amanda Baker, who played Arabella Babe Carey. So I
Okay.
thought we'd do a Love in the Afternoon uh,
Ooh.
about their love story,
Okay.
which is kind of a twisted love story, but we'll celebrate them and their love and the great actors that portrayed them. So that's what we're doing this week. Love in the Afternoon, JR and Babe edition. JR and Babe meet off screen, and JR is Adam Chandler's son, and he comes to town and he reveals that he has gotten married to a woman he's only known for 3 weeks, Babe,
Hmm.
and introduces her to his family.
Everyone, this is Babe.
Well, babe, welcome to our home. It's a pleasure to know you.
The pleasure's all mine, Mr. C. Sorry about that.
Babe. Well, that's an unusual name. Is it like Cher or Madonna, is there a last name too?
It's Chandler. Babe's my wife, Dad.
Unbeknownst to JR, Babe was very nervous about meeting JR's very rich family, having come from nothing herself. And so she had a one night stand with his brother, not knowing it was his brother, and deflowered him.
Whoa.
You know, that's not great.
No, it's not a great way to meet the family.
But Jamie keeps her secret for now. And then JR's father doesn't like Babe, thinks she's a gold digger because she came from nothing. She genuinely does love JR. He tries to pay her to leave town. She won't. JR's family are billionaires, so there's a few ways to look at that. And then Babe realizes she's pregnant. But uh-oh, she slept with both brothers. So
Classic.
she tries to seduce a doctor into saying JR is the father, or charm a doctor into saying JR is the father of her baby. And JR finds out that she slept with his brother, and he's super mad. And she's like, I was just so scared, so vulnerable, blah, blah, blah.
Don't keep us hanging. Tell us who you believe. It's not like you have to hand one of us a rose or anything.
Yeah, just say it. Babe. Babe's telling the truth. And I'm a liar. I chose my wife. And to hell with your brother? I admitted to sleeping with her because I thought I owed you honesty. Because you're my brother and I love you. You love me? You're damn right I do. Then take back what you said. Now you're asking me to lie? No. I'm asking you to do the right thing. Or that's it. I don't exist to you anymore. No. Just take it back. We'll be okay.
And then JR finds out that Babe was married once before, and that causes further rifts.
Mm.
And so Babe blackmails her other former rich ex-husband, Paul Kramer, to change the paternity results to make it look like JR's the father of her baby. And
Wow.
yeah. And I'll be honest, so I'm very grateful to have Amanda Baker, who played one of the two babes, and I hope to get, the other actress who played Babe.
hmm
But Babe is a character I straight up hate.
I feel like she's been written that way.
But the way the writers do it is something I also hate, which is a writer's peeve of the writer who was in charge at this time, Megan McTavish, who I feel also did this with Gloria Marsh and maybe Julia. No, not as much Julia. But everyone says Babe is an amazing, great person with a great heart, no matter what horrible thing she does all the time. And that continues through her entire run of the show and beyond. She is an angel on earth, and JR just needs to love her better. I hate her. So,
Right.
but not because of the acting, because of the writing. Babe and her best friend Bianca give birth during a storm. It's a really bad storm. They're isolated. And Babe calls her ex-husband Paul, because he was in the medical field, to come help them because they're giving birth, the stress of the storm and, everything. Paul decides to kidnap Babe's baby
Mm.
because he's mad that she keeps blackmailing him and forcing him to do stuff.
There you
And
go.
he tells her baby died and then runs off with it because she's out of it, having just given birth. But then JR and his father come upon the scene and say, hey, if our baby is dead, we'll kill you, Paul, because you were supposed to keep our child alive. And Paul's like, no, your baby's totally alive. It's that one, pointing to Babe's best friend's baby, Miranda, who they call Bess.
Where's my baby? That's your kid. This year's babes.
Babe gets to the hospital, and having given birth to their child, JR feels love for Babe again. There's hope for the future. All that fun stuff. true love.
Mhm.
But then Bianca, who's her best friend, kidnaps the baby thinking it's her daughter Miranda. She's right, but she returns the baby to the hospital because she keeps getting told that paternity tests say it's not her baby. And
Mm.
Babe's like, "Oh, I totally forgive you. You can even be the baby's godmother." And JR's does not agree with that, but he puts up with it for Babe's sake because they're back in love. They have this baby. JR finds out that Babe is still married to her ex-husband, Paul. They never,
Whoa.
yeah, they never got their marriage annulled. And he feels very betrayed and decides to try and take custody of the baby, but he goes to his lawyer and it's like, well, this woman just had a baby while still married to her ex-husband, so Paul could challenge you in court for custody. You need to be married to Babe. So he pretends to still be in love with Babe and marry her so that he can get custody of his baby. And then,
But is it his baby?
mhm. And so Babe,
As a token and pledge of our constant faith and abiding love, with this ring I thee wed. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
As a token and pledge of our constant faith and abiding love, with this ring I thee wed. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Now that Babe and JR have given themselves to each other by solemn vows, by the joining of hands, and by the giving and receiving of rings, I pronounce them husband and wife in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Those whom God have joined together, let no one put asunder. If Mommy and Daddy will kiss each other, I can pronounce them husband and wife.
they're remarried, and then Babe remembers the conversation she had with Paul where he told her her baby died. And so she talks to her mom, and her mom reveals that she switched the paternity results, that her baby is dead, and she has her best friend's baby. And Babe's like, well, I have to keep the baby to avoid hurting JR. Meanwhile, her best friend in the world thinks her child has just died
Oh my gosh.
and was arrested for kidnapping her own child. But whatever. I hate Babe. Anyway, gosh, I hate her so much. Babe decides to hold on to the baby out of love for JR. Meanwhile, JR is trying to make Babe look like an unfit mother so that he can get custody. So he gives her a drug overdose by dosing her so that it looks like she has a drug problem so he can bring that up in court. His brother tries to get evidence because he is in love with Babe since she deflowered him that time.
That
So,
one time.
yeah, and so he's fighting to get answers, and JR has him stabbed, his own brother.
Jeez.
And when this happens, Babe kind of realizes JR is shady. Babe and Bianca set up a sting to get JR to admit on video by pretending to be caught having an affair that JR has been out to get her all along and framed Babe for drugs and all this stuff. And you'd think at this point she'd give her friend her baby back. She does not.
She does
So,
not.
even though her friend
She's
just
still
helped her
horrible.
catch, even though her friend just helped her catch her husband. in a lie. But Babe realizes that her baby is in fact alive and Paul just kidnapped it. Paul is a character from One Life to Live, and this was a
Mm.
big All My Children, One Life to Live crossover for a year.
Ah.
And so Babe meets up with Jamie. She convinces him to help her get her baby back. So they leave town with Babe giving custody of the baby to JR. And then they kidnap Babe and JR's baby and leave town with it.
Mm.
Babe mails letters to JR and Bianca saying that the baby is actually Bianca's that JR has.
Mm.
And JR doesn't believe it. He can't believe that the baby he's been raising for a year isn't his. And so he just holds on to the babies. So Babe decides to come back to town because she feels bad that Bianca, her best friend, doesn't have her baby back. You had control a lot of this time, Babe, but fine. She does the right thing, finally, and returns to town. And the truth is revealed, and they let JR think his baby is dead
Mm.
because they suck. So then Babe and Jamie run into the woman who's been raising their baby. They do a paternity test, and Babe is cleared of all charges of kidnapping her own child, but JR learns that his son is alive. JR takes everyone to court. Babe does not get in trouble for kidnapping Bianca's baby or truly anything she's done so far. Neither does Jamie. But the one thing that happens is JR ends up with custody of his son, and he's trying to keep Babe away.
I award sole physical custody of Adam Chandler III to Adam Chandler Jr.
And Babe and Jamie are happy together. They're in love. They're engaged to be married. They're trying to, get custody of the baby. But JR keeps trying to find ways to sabotage Jamie's life, blocking him from getting jobs, getting him kicked out of school, college, and all this stuff. And Jamie's aunt dies and leaves him a ton of money in the will if he is broken up with Babe.
Oh, wow.
And Babe decides to arrange for Jamie to catch her cheating on him with Josh Madden so that he ends things with her,
Mm.
which works. And so she's like, "You'll be happy now without me. I have to be cruel to be kind," one of those.
Mm.
And then she decides to seduce JR to get custody of their son.
I'm so sorry that I told you our son was dead. I took little Adam because it was the only way that I could be with him. And because I loved him so much. But I never should have written that letter the way that I did. I never should have told you that he died.
What is this? Babe clears her conscience day? I mean, you think you say a few nice words, just everything will be better?
No, I really don't think that. But I do know you better than you think I do, JR. I know what your mama's death meant to you. And how hard it was to find out that that death was a lie. And if Di isn't really Dixie, it could be like your mama died all over again. I can see how much all of this is hurting you, JR. And I know how much I hurt you. So I just wanted to say that I'm sorry.
Then they end up falling in love again for real. JR drives drunk and hits a woman And Babe takes the fall. And JR's back in love with Babe. He's like, let's get
Mm,
remarried.
wow. How
Yeah.
dumb can you be?
Wherever you go is home. And there's only one person in my whole life who's ever made me feel like that. And that's why I think this should be yours now.
JR. It's Dixie's necklace.
Tad gave this to my mom. And she gave it to me the last day that I saw her. She told me that it was filled with more love than I could ever imagine. And that's what I want for us. For our family. More love than we could ever imagine.
JR, this necklace, it means too much to you.
And it would mean even more if you were wearing it. Just as I hope it means as much to little A when he gives it to his wife.
You're really doing this.
It's hard to believe, right? Considering where we were not too long ago. I guess I trust you now, babe. I know that you're not gonna run off with it anyway.
They're planning to get remarried when Babe and their son are kidnapped. JR thinks that Babe has run out on him with the baby again. So he holds a gun to her mother's head and threatens to kill her if she doesn't reveal Babe's location. When Babe and the baby are rescued, all's forgiven, and JR and Babe get remarried.
Loved you from the first moment that I laid eyes on you. And when I was hurt and disappointed, I fought that with everything that I could. But it's still there, babe. Always. And when we were apart, and I tried so desperately to keep our son from you, it wasn't just to get back at you. It was because he was you. He's the best of both of us. He's our love. And I had to keep that any way that I could. I know what it's like to lose you. And to think that I might never see that face again. Or hear that voice. I need you to share the rest of my life with me.
I used to think that love, the kind that I feel for you, had to be exclusive. That I could never share the man that I love with someone else. Well, except for our son. But the truth is that we wouldn't be standing here today getting married if you hadn't let another woman into your heart. Your mom, Dixie. She made you the man that you are. She shared with you her wisdom and gave you enough love to last a lifetime and still have enough left over for both me and our son. She's with us, JR. Your mother will always be with us. And we'll share with our son everything that she's taught both you and me.
Wow.
JR
Yet.
overhears Babe talking with her mom and gets the mistaken idea that Babe's gonna leave him again. So he decides to murder her.
Oh my gosh.
And so he plans to knock over a bunch of building supplies on her, but he accidentally knocks them on his own pregnant best friend, Kendall. And so
Jeez.
he's under arrest for nearly killing a pregnant woman. And again, Babe lies in court to get him off of charges. And so they're back in love. And then Babe cheats on him with Josh Madden because JR has been very depressed. JR attempts suicide by jumping out of a third-story window after he finds out. JR and Babe are done for the moment. And then Babe is presumed dead by a serial killer called the Satin Slayer. And
Okay.
JR realizes he still loves Babe. And
After all that.
but Babe wasn't ready to trust him again.
Mm.
I don't know why.
Ah, shocking.
So then Babe befriends a bartender named Richie Novak, and he needs a bone marrow transplant. JR is a match. Babe seduces JR to get him to give him the bone marrow. They start to fall in love again. But then.
So, have you decided on your prize yet?
Not yet. But I have a surprise for you.
Uh-huh. I knew it. You cheated.
What? No, I actually won fair and square this time.
Well, then what's the surprise?
I knew about being a match for Richie before you asked me to play. I was already planning on being his donor.
I don't understand.
What? That I can't have feelings for a human being? Look, babe, I don't want to sit back and watch a guy die, not even Richie.
You really mean that?
Why would I lie now?
But the game, I mean, why even play the game?
Because I like games. So do you.
Richie kidnaps JR and just steals his bone marrow because he didn't trust JR to do the right thing.
Wow.
And when Babe realizes this, she's drawn back to JR. They get engaged, and then they plan to move to California with their son. And then a tornado hits Pine Valley. Babe uses her body as a human shield
Oh, well, if that doesn't win you over.
and saves their son and
Mm.
dies in the process
Oh, geez.
in JR's arms.
Wow. Thus ending the sordid tale of JR and Babe.
And they continued talking so reverently about Babe in the years after her death and all during the time when she was alive. Every character on the show talks about what a walking angel she is, and JR is this horrible villain, and it's like they are both toxic people. They are both terrible human beings, and everyone who
Terrible,
says they're
terrible.
great.
So much kidnapping and threatening and lies and
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I'll give you some spoilers for what's coming up in our stuff. So, in what people say is maybe the only good story of 1989 is the Tad Dixie Adam triangle.
Mm.
So, Adam's been this villainous character for most of All My Children. And then there's sweet, innocent Dixie and Tad, the guy we saw raised on screen forever, saving
Mm-hmm.
her from this horrible man.
Mm-hmm.
And then here in the beginning of the JR Jamie Babe triangle, it was very similar. JR is Adam's son, Jamie is Tad's son. They're fighting over Babe. JR's
Mm.
behaving horribly, and Jamie's the sweet guy trying
Mm-hmm.
to save her. But while audiences absolutely fell in love, and Tad and Dixie are considered the reigning super couple in the entire history of All My Children, Babe and Jamie never got that, though the actors who played Babe and Jamie got married in real life and are still together to this day. And
Aw.
that's how it was kind of supposed to go.
Right.
That's not how fans took it because
Right.
they watched JR and Jamie get raised as brothers for their entire lives for decades on the show. Like, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
in future episodes see these kids grow up together as brothers, and this woman who is behaving horribly as
Ruins it
well,
all.
yeah, destroys their bond. And so it's like the fans are rooting for JR because
Hmm.
they watched him grow up in a way they weren't rooting for Adam. And this woman is causing trouble between brothers who fans have watched all their lives. And the writers really thought it was going to go the other way. Like
Mm.
Jamie and Babe were supposed to be the main couple, but people were really into the toxic chemistry of Babe and JR.
Babe and JR. Well,
That
it's more soapy.
hmm that Nick and Nora, Sid and Nancy type of thing. They tried to
Hmm.
recreate their old magic and it just didn't work at all.
Yeah.
So,
Feel bad for their kid who just kept getting kidnapped.
yeah, all the kids
He's
getting
the loser.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if we're doing winners and losers, kind of both of them for both categories. It's like, yeah, you guys
Right?
are in epic love, but like, God, you guys, like, please stay tuned for our interview with Amanda Baker right after this, because I know I trashed JR and Babe, but they were fun to watch,
Yeah.
even though I hated Babe with the heat of 1,000 suns, and still do.
And still do forever.
You know, it's part of the fun of watching these shows. Like, have you watched a show where you were like, oh, I love this couple, but not these?
Yeah. I actually sort of got turned off from Virgin River because the main love story was just too. I mean, it's not a soap opera, but it
But
was
it
just
kind of
too
is.
too sugary sweet.
Yeah, I do think it was kind of a soap opera in its own way, but like primetime soap.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those like even their meeting was off screen because no one was expecting them to be
Mm,
the couple, care about their meeting type
right.
thing. But you know, and it was an issue of, like I said, like trying to recreate old magic. And I think when you're trying to force something like that,
Mm,
it
yeah.
maybe doesn't work. Like, hey, fans love this before, we'll just do it again. It's you know,
We'll just
there
go round and round and round.
and I mean there was like a certain kind of alchemy in that, like Tad and Dixie weren't supposed to be a couple at all either. And they just had such good chemistry, they became the reigning All My Children couple. So it's just one of those things, lightning in a bottle, you know?
Right, for sure.
Do you have any other thoughts before we end for today?
I vote this couple the most toxic couple.
I mean, so far, I have thoughts about Trevor and Natalie, the early goings, which I know fans will disagree with. Adam and Liza, I think, is another one. That'll give them a run for their money. But yeah, JR and Babe were definitely, I think, that kind of Nick and Nora, Sid and Nancy, and that was the appeal of them. Like
Right,
some of the other couples were very sweet and loving, and
right.
they were their own thing. Please like, subscribe, comment,
Buy our merch.
buy our merch. It is in the link in whatever format you're watching this video or listening to this podcast. There's a link below. And you can get to our merch, support us on Patreon. That's it for this week. Oh, please email us, comment. We'll take those.
We love to hear from people.
Right. Well,
Well,
bye.
bye.
You need rest. You need to save your strength for this wedding that we're putting on.
No, I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to miss anything.
I'll wake you up in plenty of
I'm
time.
dying,
No,
Mama.
you're not. No, you're not. No. You're young and you are strong. Those crack doctors, you're gonna be just fine.
You haven't lied to me since I was 8. You told me that Brussels sprouts tasted like chocolate.
You were 9. And I gave you chocolate ice cream when you finished them.
chocolate ice cream ain't gonna fix this.
There has to be a way.
It's all right,
No,
Mama.
no, it's not. It's not all right. It's not all right. All your life, I kissed your scrapes and your bruises. I made them all right. That's what mamas do. Now I have to sit by and
Help me
watch.
plan my wedding. Help me plan my wedding. Help me make it perfect for JR.
I'll turn this place upside down if that's what you want.
And I don't want him to know that I know I'm gonna die. He's given me so much, and this is the gift I want to give to him.
Hey, everybody, we are here with Amanda Baker Browning now, I believe.
Yes.
Who played Arabella Babe Carey on All My Children. And we'll just ask her some questions. Amanda, what made you want to act in the first place?
Well, I think I discovered at an earlier age that I really loved to sing and perform on stage. And that was kind of something that really happened during my middle school years. And then when I was in high school, I was in what we called the show choir. And so we were able to dance and perform and do like Broadway tunes. And that really opened my eyes to, having a love being on the stage. And then it was a little bit later on that I kind of started to really get more into, TV and film type stuff, and just kind of found that I had an interest there and really started to pursue that as I got older, especially after I graduated college. So, but yeah, I would say it kind of started in middle school, high school.
All right. How did you get into the entertainment industry?
Well, I had some agents earlier on when I was in high school. And then after I graduated college, I actually started working at a real estate company. And there was a photographer that would come into the agency, and he did a lot of the local marketing for the agency, and asked if I would be in a local commercial. And from that point on, I basically had a conversation with somebody on set who said that there was an agent in the area that was, taking on clients. And I thought, you know what? I think this is something that I really would like to try to pursue as a career. I always thought it might just be like a hobby. And so I signed on with this agency. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. So I signed on with an agency there. And then just little by little, I started booking, a job here, a job there, and had to start traveling a little bit. And it just kind of started to grow from the Southeast on. And from the Southeast, I did a little bit in New Orleans. And then once I kind of branched out from there, then I ended up going to Los Angeles after that. So it was a slow burn. I think if it had happened super quickly, I probably would have chickened out and not really followed through. Because it was just little tiny steps here and there. It allowed me to kind of keep going.
Oh, that's interesting. The slow, steady worked for you.
Yes. And I would say, like, overall, like, as the time frame of it happening, it wasn't like super long. But for me, the steps that were sort of taken to kind of get me there were it's not like I just all of a sudden woke up one day and said, okay, I'm going to Los Angeles. Like, this is it. This is my dream. It was, I was working a full-time job, and then I started singing in a band full-time to kind of support, myself being able to audition during the daytime. So that was sort of like the first step to sort of like not work full-time.
Mhm.
And then I started booking jobs that were just in the Southeast area. So like, near Charleston, there would be things in Atlanta or Wilmington, North Carolina, so I would just travel, little by little. And then it was like sort of a baby step to New Orleans. So, it was just little small strategic steps that kind of led me to being able to get out to, the big bad Los Angeles, I guess.
So how did you get cast on All My Children?
Well, I ended up meeting a really amazing manager who I met. I was doing a local series in South Carolina at the time and flew out to Los Angeles for a charity event and ended up meeting the guy who would become my manager and who would get me set up with some great agents out in Los Angeles. And he started submitting me for, some great projects. And at the same time, I was auditioning for some of these projects. I did a class with Mark Teschner, who is the casting director for General Hospital. And that was actually my mom's idea. She called me. She's like, "You got to sign up for this class. It's with Mark Teschner. So Mark Teschner kind of started calling me in for some auditions for General Hospital at the time. And they were doing a spinoff called General Hospital Night Shift. And he ended up calling me in for a role on that show that I ended up booking. And I played a character. Her name was Jolene Crowell, and she was a nurse on the show. And then from that show, I got called to audition for All My Children to replace the role of Alexa Havens. And so I had to fly out to New York. So I was living in LA at the time, and I had to fly out to New York and do a screen test. And I screen tested with Jacob Young, and then from there, I waited a week, and they called me after I auditioned, and they said I got the part. So I had 2 weeks to get out to New York because I was living in Los Angeles. So I had to sell everything I owned there and make a pit stop back in South Carolina to figure out some stuff, and then get up to New York after that. So it was a pretty quick process.
This process of acting has taken you all through everywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you want to go through roller coaster rides, just try to be an actor. It's like it's like being on a roller coaster for sure.
So you were recast within the same scene. So I believe Alexa
Yes.
Havens goes in for the hug, you come out of the hug.
Yes.
So did you feel any pressure joining the show as a recast character?
Oh, I felt all the pressure. I mean, there no doubt about that. It's like I'm not coming into a situation where I can not necessarily make the character my own, because that's what you have to do. As I'm not Alexa, so I'm having to make Babe, my own character, but she was already an established character on the show. So coming in with a recast is always very overwhelming, because you don't know how the audience is going to, receive you. And, like you said, you're coming into already established relationships between people with a character. So, yeah, I felt there was definitely pressure involved in wanting to, please everybody and do a great job and come in prepared and knowing about, the past of like what had gone on with her and things of that nature. So yeah, it definitely was a situation where I felt like I had to really, you know, come in very well prepared and just wanting to do the best I possibly could.
Mm-hmm. What were your first days like on that set?
It was interesting because I was there the first day. It was my first day and Alexa's last day. And
Uh-huh.
so when we were there going in for the hug, which was just so imagine, watching it was weird, like playing it was weird too, because you're like, it's the first time they've ever done anything like this before.
Mhm.
So we felt both her and I sort of felt um, just the craziness of that. And then also Bobby Eakes, who was, played my mom. She felt it as well, because it's like she's hugging Alexa and then I'm coming in mid shot and like, hugging her at the same time. So we were just sort of laughing and like, this is just so like, this is crazy.
Yeah, nice
So we
to
were
meet
laughing
you.
about it. Yeah, we're like, people are going to be like watching and being like, what just happened? So we did have a lot of laughs about that. So that was really nice. And I got to be there on her last day and just tell her goodbye. And just she was so sweet about everything. And yeah, and just really just getting to know everybody well, kind of starting to establish those relationships and coming in and figuring out the schedule and, all the hair and makeup people and just all of it. I'd say it was like a mix of emotions. It's like, you're excited, but you're nervous and you're also like, you're ready to kind of get going because this is like a, kind of a dream come true, so you get to really, some of the people I watched growing up on soaps, because my mom and my grandmother watched soaps growing up. So it's like I'm sitting there looking at people that I've seen on other soaps and I'm like, this is really happening. Is this happening? Yes, it's happening, So, but really just seeing that they're just people, and everybody's there. They have their lives. This is, so that was also like, okay, take a deep breath, everybody here is just, this is their job. This is what they do, But everybody was really sweet and everybody was really welcoming. So that was something I really appreciated. And yeah, just kind of felt like I just kind of came right on in and just kind of started to go with the flow. So it was a lot of dialogue though. That's a lot that you have to kind of get used to because it's a lot of, they shoot one episode a day. So you have to really be prepared in that way too, and you only get one or two takes and then they move on. So you have to really be prepared on that. So I wanted to make sure I was definitely learning my lines, So yeah.
To go back a little bit, so you were also on Night Shift, but that was more of their prime time type of soap. So was that a different process of like less pages, more time?
So, well, on Night Shift, they were sharing the soundstage with General Hospital. And so General Hospital, they were shooting all of their episodes Monday through Thursday. And then they would let Night Shift have the soundstage on Fridays. And so we would have to shoot, we would shoot one episode every Friday. And because it was sort of like it was a prime time type situation. We definitely had less dialogue, but also we were in a time crunch as well. So it was interesting. They were trying something new. And so we were, the people that were on regular General Hospital were having to shoot everything they needed to shoot Monday through Thursday. So it was a lot of new things we were trying to figure out like at the time. But in all the off time, when the characters were not shooting up on the soundstage, we all got very close because we were just hanging out, just waiting for them to call us up. And so, yeah, but every Friday we would go and shoot. And when I got over to All My Children, it was a very different setup. It was like, okay, I'm here, way more often. There's a lot more dialogue. So, but I am grateful for, what I learned on Night Shift because it was sort of like a very it was like an introductory course on what it was going to be like on All My Children. So I definitely learned, just a lot about like how the soundstage worked and like blocking and, everything that takes place just on like a soap set. So it definitely gave me a lot of, good education.
All right. Did you have a favorite on-screen moment on All My Children?
There were a lot of really great moments. I would say probably the ones that I was most proud of were probably the ones in the very end, after Babe got crushed in the tornado and she's in the hospital and she's having to basically say her goodbyes. A lot of those moments, like, because I was sad in real life, so it's not necessarily like I was even really acting in those scenes because like the tears were real and all of that. But I would say that those probably stand out to me the most of what I'm most proud of with what I was able to do performance wise. They were difficult to go through, but I think that they were written really well. And yeah, sometimes I have people send me those scenes, on social media and I'll kind of go back and maybe watch some if, and I'm like, wow, I actually, I'm watching myself cry and I'm like, those were actually real tears. So I didn't really have to act that much. those. Um, but yeah, those stand out to me the most.
I did watch those scenes again myself leading up to this interview, and you are juggling a lot because the character of Babe knows she's dying and she's trying to say goodbye to everyone who means something to her. And there's the JR Babe love story kind of happening at the same time. So you were doing a lot in those final episodes. Very impressive.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So speaking of that, JR and Babe were like one of the most popular couples in the history of the show. How did it feel being a part of that?
Well, Jacob made it very easy to come into that role. And I think that his ability to sort of just welcome me in and even knowing that I was, replacing someone, um, he made it very seamless. And so I think that in turn made it easier for me coming into that relationship because you're kind of coming into something that's already been back and forth on and off, so you have to have the right chemistry and you have to have the right dialogue and you have to have that banter and everything that kind of goes along with it. So we would practice before we would shoot, obviously, so we would run lines. And he took it as seriously as anything, so I very much appreciated that. And so that in turn created, we had a friendship. We were able to develop that chemistry. So it would, whenever we would have these scenes, we would want it to play, as real as possible. So yeah, it was, we had fun, we would laugh. And so even when I was being horrible to him or he was being horrible to me, whatever, it's like we could laugh afterwards and be like, we obviously know this is not real life, but it just became it became easy, I feel like, because we were able to develop a good friendship off camera. And so that was it made it seamless whenever we'd be able to get through the lines and get through the stories and not knowing like, okay, are we going to hate each other today? Or are we going to like get back together? I don't know, what's happening right now. So yeah, so I owe a lot to his performance and him, kind of making it easy for me to come into an already existing relationship, basically. Yeah.
On that note, is there any behind the scenes memory from your time on All My Children that you'd like to share?
Gosh, there were a lot. I think that for me and some of the girls on the show, they welcomed me in like just so well. We would get together and go do fun things. Missy Egan, she was such a big part of, welcoming me in on the show as well. And I just remember like going to some like events together and just having such a fun, great time, just laughing, just having a good time, developing a relationship there. I think Bobby Eakes was really kind of hanging out with her a little bit, like, off when we were, not working, and just seeing how much of a caregiver she is, like how sweet she is. And just, it's like she, to this day, like we still are connected and, we'll comment on each other's social media posts and things. And she's, I'm always like, hey mama, so yeah, just such a sweet soul. So yeah, there's a lot of memories that just kind of come to mind whenever, we were not on set and able to kind of just hang out and be a part of each other's lives. It was fun.
All right. You don't have to answer this next question if you don't feel like it, because it's somewhat personal, but you worked closely with the late Billy Miller as part of your
Yes,
storylines. And
I did.
what
Yeah.
what do you remember about working with him?
So Billy was one of the first people that I worked with on the show. Outside of those first scenes with Bobby and Alexa, he was probably the next person that I had scenes with. And I think right away, what struck me about Billy was that he was so down to earth. He was such just like a real grounded individual, and he was so talented. Like I just remember like running lines with him and having our scenes, and he just was really, the way he committed to a scene, like you felt like he was really playing this person. And we I fortunately got, I got to know him well in the times that we, when he was on the show before he went to, Young and the Restless. And just, he was such an amazing guy. Um, that was like my biggest takeaway of like just feeling like I got a chance to really know him, not just work with him, but know him as a person. And, and so I was like, wow, I it's just such a tragedy, as because of, him not being here anymore. And so it really did hit me. It hit me hard because you go back to those times and remember, certain conversations you had, or, scenes and things like that. And so, yeah, but he not only was a phenomenal talent, but he was just an amazing, amazing guy for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Looking back on the character, is there anything you would have changed about Babe or the storyline?
Well, it definitely wouldn't have killed her off.
I figured that's the main one, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I look back on certain things and wonder if maybe they would have or should have brought on not a replacement for Babe, but maybe like her long lost sister,
They
or
did.
yes, after the fact. But for me personally, I wonder, coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of things. I don't necessarily would have changed anything about my choices and in how I played her. But with storylines, you just never know how they're going to go because we don't really get them too much far in advance. And so you're kind of rolling with it. Every time you get a script, you're like, oh, this is what we're doing now. Okay. But yeah, killing her off, that was a big one. That was a really big one.
That was the main one. Yeah.
That was the main one. So yeah, if there was one thing, I probably would say she didn't need to go anywhere. She didn't need to go anywhere. She was good, I think.
I'm sure when the writers were watching those scenes, they were like, "Oh, what did we do here?" Got rid of the
Yeah, that would have
star."
been my hope, but hey, such is life. But yeah, that'd be the main thing.
Do you have a favorite fan interaction that you've had so far?
Well, there were a lot. There were a lot of really amazing fan interactions. Gosh, there was one interaction I had where somebody actually was calling me Babe. Like they were asking me like I'm the character, and they were asking me about like JR. They're like, how's JR? You know? And I'm just going along with it. I'm like, he's great. Everyone's great, So that was sort of an eye-opening moment for me where I'm like, oh, they're sticking with this. So I think I'm going to stick with it as well. I don't want to burst their bubble. And, but, just different charity events that I went to were very, those were always so much fun, being able to raise money for different charities. There were certain fans that would come to the stage door and wait for us, before we would come into work, and just being able to get to interact with them and say hi, and their commitment and their devotion to the show. I don't think a lot of people realize like people would travel from like they would use their vacation time and just to come to fan events, and they would spend their money to do those things. And so I would always just want them to know like how much that was appreciated. And everybody was just always just so awesome. I get to meet a lot of amazing people through that, and not really knowing what the fan base was like until I got to be a part of it. Kind of opened my eyes to why people love soap so much and why they still hold on to them and why they still want to see them come back, but yeah, just an amazing group of people. And still to this day, I have friends that I made from being fans on the show that I'm still in contact with today. So I'm grateful for that.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah.
All right, you can plead the fifth on the next one, but what was your favorite non All My Children project you worked on?
Non on my children project. Oh gosh. Well, I actually was there've been a few, but I would say I was able to be on a sitcom called Rules of Engagement, and that was sort of my first introduction to a sitcom, which is very much shot like a soap opera. So they shoot during the week, like Monday through Friday, and they kind of have a set schedule, which is actually really nice. But all they do is laugh all the time because it's a sitcom. And so even in scenes where they're not really going well, there's still like laughter involved. And I was like, man, I was like, this is the life. Like you get to laugh all the time. Everybody's like, and there's a live audience, which is also really cool, especially when they were shooting the show at the time, they had a live audience. And so you kind of it's almost like doing like a play, but it's TV too. So you kind of have a good combo. And so whenever you say a line and everybody laughs, you're like, okay, yeah, like you feel that, encouragement. So I would say, I'd say the role that I got to do on Rules of Engagement was pretty awesome.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Yes, thank you.
So what are you up to now? How can your fans see you?
So I'm living in Nashville now, and m- one of the uh, one of the things that actually that just came out the other day is a series called Scarpetta, and it is a series on Amazon Prime, and the stars are Jamie Lee Curtis and Nicole Kidman, and I was able to be a part of that show. So if you check out Scarpetta, you will see me on episode 3. And I am playing Stacey Lancaster, and she has a great scene with Jamie Lee Curtis. So you can see me there. And yeah, just I've got my kids, they're auditioning now. And so, you never know where we might pop up. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun. And yeah, just waiting to see what the next project is.
That's so exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Is there a charity you would like to shout out?
Well, I'm always there's been a lot of charities that I've supported over the years, but the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation I've always supported and loved. It's I think that cancer affects everybody. We've had somebody in our lives that has been affected by it, and so I would definitely like to shout that out and just say that my support is for all women out there who have gone through it, who have overcome it. My support is there and prayers and everything going on with that. So yeah, that's a big one for me.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was our last question. Is there anything you feel like I haven't gotten to that you'd like to share about, or all good?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Just there was one question. I know there's a lot of talk about maybe All My Children maybe coming back, or talk of maybe
Oh,
them
the
doing like
Lifetime movies.
the Lifetime stuff, but I don't have any. I mean, I know what everybody else knows, so there's not much I can really provide there, other than the fact that I know it's going to happen, but I don't know like in what capacity and who will be involved, other than Susan Lucci. But yeah, so
Would you
that's
come
about it.
back as a Babe's ghost or?
If they called and wanted to bring Babe back in any capacity, I would for sure consider it because, think she's a worthy character to have, have it be a part of. So, and I think they actually did bring her back in the very end before the series ended.
Yeah, with Alexa. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
So
they also brought back her real life husband to play Jamie.
yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so that's exciting. I hope that, I hope it pans out, and I think that the fans would really love it. So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. This was an absolute delight. You're so thoughtful. You have such a positive attitude about all the stuff that this industry has brought you. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for talking to us today.
Of course. And I hope you have a great weekend.
All right. You too.
All right. Thanks again.
I was lucky enough to find you. Thank you for seeing the good in me. You were the first man who ever made me feel special. And from the first moment I laid eyes on you, you did that until this very moment. Well, there were a few breaks in between, but you have to promise me something.
Anything. Anything.
You have to make little A feel that way. Like he can reach for the stars every day. I love you. From the deepest place in my soul. And no matter what, I'll never stop.
Thank you for listening. Our theme song is Wouldn't It Be Nice by Sound Mirage featuring Lady Rand. Please rate and review, download, subscribe, all the things. And you can email us at amcrewatch@gmail.com. Thanks. Talk to you next week.